Hello everyone, this is Inayat Mir and this is my new lab about Windows failover clustering. So I would suggest that you guys always and everyone can pause this lab and then start whenever you need it. So you will see that here in this exercise what can be achieved. So you will connect to a cluster nodes to the iSCSI targets and install the failover clustering feature. So you will see here a DC1 and some member servers, and between those member servers and ADC we are going to perform couple of things. So here is your scenario, so you can look at the scenario, and again I said that you can pause very first screen and then continue and look at the environment here. So you will see SVR3 as a member server, SVR1 as a member server, SVR4 as a member server on the right side of my screen. And I also would like to type what's going on actually behind the scene or in front of you. The reason is that I want everyone to understand what's going on, and there are viewers actually who do not have audio for that reason. So again, the purpose of this lab or this demo is just to show you about Windows failover cluster. So in my previous lab, I discussed and I talked with everyone about NLB, network load balance. So here I am on SVR3 right now, and as you see on the top right side, I have my domain controller, and then server 1, server 3, server 4, and I am going to connect to iSCSI through iSCSI initiator right now. I'm going to connect with SVR1 actually. So IP what I gonna put here for SVR1, LON-SVR1 is my host name of my server, or my server 1, 172.16.0.21. That is the IP address, and 3260 is a default port for iSCSI initiator. So when we connect to iSCSI target, so that's how you point out to the port number. So here you go from discovery, and then you can add the IP address to the target server where I have installed already iSCSI target, so on the back end or behind the scenes. So here now you have inactive connection, you click on connect to connect with SVR1, where I have already created 3 virtual disks. So you will see that. So I'm going to connect SVR3 and SVR4 with SVR1. So where you can see now I click on OK. When I do, you will see that I'm connected. So that's mean then when it says connected, that's mean I'm going to have access to those 3 virtual disks or iSCSI disks what I have created on my SVR1 target server, where you have a target server in role installed. So here we go. So you can see now I have my SVR3 connected to SVR1. So I can repeat the same action from SVR4. Just log into SVR4 with our unique password, what we use for all labs or all demo purposes. You might have a small background noise or a little music. That is a Starbucks music, and you may not be interrupted on with this music, but sometimes I enjoy that. So now I'm going back here into iSCSI initiator from SVR4. Same thing. This iSCSI initiator by default is available on all client computers on all servers if you are using Vista or any operating system after Vista. So now here again from discovery you're gonna use 172.16.0.21, the IP of SVR3, and you also can see I can browse and show you that SVR1's IP address. Sorry, not SVR3, SVR1. So 172.16.0.21 you can ping actually SVR1 with -A. So that is a switch we can use ping space minus a space IP, and you will get a host name back. It might come back a little slow, but you will have this host name back. So just for the verification purposes, I'm going to add this IP address 172.16.0.21 and hit enter, and you will see a reply. So it is coming from, if you look at that LON-SVR1 on the top right, or on the pinging reply. So that is my host name. Okay, where I am going right now, you see me on SVR1 at this moment, and we can log in with our unique password. And I can show you from here, from my server manager, that my iSCSI target is installed. This is just for your review. So you will see on the bottom all steps of this lab here, but I'm not moving steps right now. Just to show you here, you can see here iSCSI target service server is installed. So this is a server role, and later on we will see, and we're gonna add a failover cluster, which is a feature. So this is a role. Failover cluster is a feature which is required on SVR3 and SVR4, and you will go along with me and you will see how that works as well. So iSCSI target is already installed on L1 SVR1 at backend. So if you want to do it at your own, simply in any other server, or if the server which is going to act as a target server, where you are connecting actually to get the drives. So let me show you that those drives, how you can see that under iSCSI, which is already iSCSI target server on SVR1, and you will see that I will have a couple of virtual drives available. So now I can show you these 3 drives under this location, under my E drive, E as an Edward. So here E drive is hosting under this location these 3 drives, and in the size they're supposed to be 30 gigabyte each, 30 gigabyte. Each drive is a 30 gigabyte, and you are going to have these drives on SVR3 and SVR4, and you're going to initialize and format on SVR3, and then you're going to refresh and then initialize and bring them online in SVR4, and you will see that you have a 90 gigabyte these 3 drives, and then we're going to install a failover cluster feature on both SVR3 and SVR4, and then we're going to play around. You can look at this idea and you get a concept. So all we need to get a concept, so how this all failover clustering works in server environment. So NLB is a network load balancing that I showed you in my previous video. So most likely that deals with, just I'm gonna take a pause here. Alright, so I had to take a small pause actually. So I'm connecting to SVR3 now here to show you a computer management on SVR3 and SVR4, where we're supposed to see 3 drives actually. But let me connect from SVR4 first, because I did not complete that part. So 3260 is a default port, and now you will see here, if you refresh that, there is an inactive connection after refreshing it. The target, refresh, alright, there's not connection yet. You can connect it. Once you connect, you're gonna see all those 3 drives available from my PC to target server, from target server to my PC under computer management, and then I'm gonna go and actually initialize those 3 drives on SVR3, and then I will go ahead and now I'm connecting. Once I'm connected, then I will be able to format those drives and take those drives, and I'm gonna set up a failover cluster. That is the main point, and I'm going to show you. Now I'm going to my computer management to show you, because I just have this connection with my SVR1 target server. Under disk management, you're gonna see here those all unallocated space drives. These drives are basically the one I have to bring them online and have to format them and give them a just any name under volume. These are 30 gigabyte. You have to bring them online initialize and format. So this is the normal process what we're gonna do. So that's I'm going to do, and you will see all of these three drives how it works. So they will be available to use actually. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on SVR4. So I'm choosing a default drive letter. NTFS, and I can put volume label as data, and I can perform a quick format. And finish. So that is how I'm gonna initialize my second drive. Disk one is now available to use. So I'm gonna repeat same thing with the disk 2. And with the disk 3. So you know the procedure now. So you have to bring them online first. Then you can initialize. When you initialize, you will see the options here: MBR and GPT. GUID partition table. If you want to use a more than 2 terabyte partition, so you have to choose the second option, not the first option. So I'm using under 2 terabytes. So because this is just 30 gigabytes, so I'm using only MBR, master boot record partition, not the GUID partitioning table. So because I have no intention to install any operating system, I have no intention to use it more than 2 terabytes. So I'm using without 2 terabytes. I mean under 2 terabytes. So now I have the same procedure. Bring them online. Initialize. And you can create a partition. So next available drive letter is G. So you can see on the top window as well. So I'm bringing new drives in. G is my third drive letter, and I'm adding a volume label, which is I'm adding data, and I'm going to finish this one. So now you can go back into my SVR4. So SVR3 is done. SVR4, same thing. We're gonna have same drives with the same drive letters, and we can just refresh it. You can cancel this format things. So it was done already. So there's no point to have this message. So SVR4 is my another member server. These both gonna have basically fail our clustering feature installed in my next step. So here it's wrong click. It's supposed to be computer management. Let's do it again. And you should actually see that those drives here what you have seen on my SVR3 under disk management. So here we go, we got here these 3 disks, and you can refresh it because we have done it on SVR3 as well from the same server. When you refresh, you will see those blue tabs on the top. Now you can initialize these drives, bring them online because red arrow down is no good. It is a common procedure that you are looking at this moment. And we have done this actually on SVR3 or server 3. Bring them online. Okay, this disk 2, bring them online. And disk 3, bring them online. On the top left, you're going to see E, F, and now G drive is coming up. So you're going to have those 3 drives up. E, F, and G. So same drives what we had in SVR3 we have here because they are coming from SVR1. So this part is done. So now you're gonna add fail our cluster feature on SVR3 and on SVR4 both one by one, and you're gonna run the console. You're gonna actually first you're gonna initialize, you're gonna validate, and then you're gonna create a cluster. So those things are basically our next goal. So that's what we're going to do. So here I'm going to add this feature fail our cluster all the way down 4 from the bottom. And this will add features, so you have to always say yes, add features. You can continue and install. So again I am going to do action replay on both servers. This is done on SVR3. Now we have another server L1-SVR4. Alright, so this is my action replay on my other member server because I am going to add these both in my cluster. So you will actually see, so we are actually taking the same concept what we took from our network load balancing lab. So if you did not watch that, so please go ahead and look for that network load balancing lab that was actually also created with audio, or if you don't see the audio you go into the bottom and click on the link. So here we have done this all. So now we're gonna continue validate the server for failover clustering, then create the failover cluster and then configure cluster share volume. CSV is a cluster shared volume. So and keep in mind that validation would take about 10 to 15 minutes. So I will not let you watch this all, but I will perform the steps right in front of you so you can figure out how this works. But validation in real life validation will take a long time. Here the environment where I am actually takes about 10 to 15 minutes. So here you're gonna go to the fail our cluster manager from your tools. So I'm on SVR3. I'm going into fail our cluster manager for the first option, which is basically fail our cluster manager, where you can actually validate configuration. So this is a widget. You are going to validate configuration on LON-SVR3 and on LON-SVR4. So you can add both one by one. All right. Run all tests recommended. So you can run these tests, and again I said that you will see that these tests validation will take a while, so you will wait about 10 to 15 minutes. Once these all are green, or you will see some warnings, and if you see any cross, no good. But here while I'm speaking, it's gonna run on the back end, and I would not let you watch everything. So you will see that these all of them are passing, and you're gonna see me pause and go, pause and go. That is how you watch these videos. So whenever you have something very interesting, and if you want to review it, and if I'm moving too fast, you always can go and just pause it, read it carefully, and then you can play again. So that is how I'm doing that. So on the back end I'm doing this operation. Alright, so this took about 10 to 12 minutes, all completed. You can view report if you want to, and then you can click on finish, and that is how you can see some warnings about everything, about storage, about all of those cluster shared volume settings or all of your iSCSI options. So that's how you're gonna look at all our here. So this is overall result screen. So this actually went through successfully. So I'm just putting here in case you are not hearing my audio, in case that it took me about 10 probably 10 to 12 minutes, which I wrapped up in maybe 2 minutes. And the next step, now we are ready to create a cluster, and we will give a name to that cluster. So let's see, you are with me, so you are watching how it's gonna work. So we have a way far way to go anyway, but this is all what we are doing is a basic area. So yeah, on the way, I will keep speaking as needed to clear the concepts. What's going on? Most likely, we are doing very common stuff here, but it will give you itself. It is itself explanatory. So before I had this lab without audio, I decided to add some audio due to some requests. So I'm adding some audio here. So here that now you are creating a cluster. So create a cluster visit is my next topic, which I am performing right now. So you here you're gonna give a name to their cluster, and then you're gonna select servers. So first you're gonna add those SVR3 and SVR4. So you are selecting those servers first. So you remember you added up this feature on both. Alright, so now you're gonna name a cluster, and then you're gonna have to select IP from recommended IP addresses. What you see here on the network. So network is 172.16.0 slash 16. You're gonna 0.0 slash 16. So you are going to choose one IP, which I'm going to choose 125. Cluster 1 is the name of my cluster at this time. You click here to type an address. So because you have to choose this cluster address. So cluster 1 needs to have an address. So on the last zero, I will put 125. Just review it before you click on next and finish. You're also maybe enjoying a background noise, little noise, but for me it's fine because I'm having my nice USB headphone. So you also can read what's going on. Alright, so we have this cluster 1 for SVR4 and server 3, and keep in mind the cluster IP address, which is 172.16.0.125. So here you can review a report, and you can scroll down and look at the nodes in this cluster. Cluster 1 has two nodes, SVR4 and SVR3. So because we had three disks there, and you will see that the third disk will be used as quorum. And I am putting a side note actually as well, and you can have a look at that note which explains about a lot of terms about NLB and failover cluster that also includes a disk quorum. And also you will see under my slides a lot of definitions and notes, and that also includes a disk about the quorum disk. So you can scroll down whenever you're done, you can click on finish. So you're done at this part. So you now you're gonna see that these are the disks what we had, those three disks. Disk 1, disk 2, disk 3. So currently honor node is L1-SVR4, and you're gonna see here available storage on disk 2 and disk 3, and one was used and one is used as a quorum or witness in quorum. Also, please try to read the steps on the bottom. If you are confused about something, so that's why you have to keep an eye on these one, because my previous labs do not include those all steps under the lab. They do not include audio, so that was a kind of confusion for some viewers. So based on their actually demand, I am going to explain a little more than I supposed to, or I believe that you guys are watching here because you are advanced users and you definitely have an idea what's going on. And of course, we know this is not a stuff for those users who are very basic users, and this is for server admins, system engineers, server engineers, AD engineers, storage managers. So, and the good thing is that I do not have to explain in very much detail unless I feel to, where I see that there is something which I have to explain in detail. But I always have my side notes, my PDF documents, and I always have my slides available. Okay, so you have done this part. Validation is done, cluster share volume configuration is done. Now you can continue, and again you can look at the scenario again, and you can actually add the file server application to the file cluster and other two options here. Again, just take a look on these steps which you are going to perform. You're going to add a shared folder to a cluster, highly available. Okay, we're going to continue, and you are going to go into my LON-SVR4, where you're going to add and remove. This is a widget you're going to run again on add and remove roles and features. It's a very normal procedure. You can click on here next twice. From here, just to look at what was installed, what do we have available already. So 1 of 12 installed. So you are choosing this file server. Okay, keep in mind now your SVR4 is a file server. Now, so you installed a file server on server 4. Move on to your server 3. So we do have this file our cluster manager available already and console is open. So you can just make sure that all three disks are available online. Available and status is online. So we are going to configure roles. So you're gonna configure file server for server 3. It is for general use. You can read the options as needed. So we're gonna give them a name, a datum, FS or file server, and we're gonna give them an IP address 172.16.0 from the network. We're gonna choose 130. Instead of last 0, we're gonna choose 130 and continue. Next. We're gonna choose cluster disk 3. As the location which has OU. This is OU is computers under a datum domain. Okay, datum.com, and it is showing you the OU name is a computer. That's a container in Active Directory. Now we go back to SVR4 or server 4. Server manager, you're gonna open fail our cluster manager again here. So remember we installed this feature on these both servers and created a cluster, validated configuration. So don't forget that. So you're gonna actually have here role, and you will see our ADATM FS role is available, and you're gonna add a file share. ADATM FS was the name of file share. SMB share quick. You can read the description as well if you want to. We're gonna leave the F volume as it is, and here you can provide a share name, DOCX or docs is our share name. We don't want to make any change here, leave it as it is. We don't want to have access based enumeration. You know what is EAB already, so that's mean whoever has access folder should be visible for that user, but we don't want to add at this time E A E A B E access based enumeration. So just look at the final page and click on create. Okay, now look at the ADATMFS properties. And you see that failback option. So you can actually set failback options between these two servers. You can allow failback. So it is up to you how you're gonna do that. So we can set value 4 to 5. And you're gonna select both servers, SVR3 to and SVR4. So you can move SVR4 up. And just click on OK. Now you have 4 and 3. Okay, so now we just added the file server application to the failover cluster, added a shared folder to high available file server and configured failover and failback options. Now you're gonna continue. Again, if I'm moving too fast on those tabs, so please pause and look at the options and continue. So now for the first time we are going to log into our domain controller adatum.com as an administrator. So here we go, this is our domain controller. As you see the name LON-DC1, it is a fictitious name of Microsoft generated domain controller. So you have seen many labs with my own domain controller, which is a meer.com. So now we are going to look for this DOC shared folder. So we have created this while ago. Share name was DOCS docs. Here's nothing in this folder, so it was just a shared folder created. So if you create here anything, wherever this folder basically is, you will go and look at this text document in that one, just to give you a concept or give you an idea. I'm just saying this is a test. And reminding you again that who is talking to you. So going back to SVR 3. Look at the roles and look at the current owner of ADATMFS. So it is under owner node column. So SVR4 is a current owner. So could be SVR3, could be SVR4. It depends, but you can see here the currently what you can see here. Honor is LON-SVR4. It tells you at the bottom as well, and when you click on top of it, and it's gonna show up here. Very simple and visible. Right. So you will see that a name which is available now SVR3, because honor was SVR4. Now you change the honor node and now is SVR3. So we moved actually or changed the honor from SVR4 to SVR3. Going back to our domain controller DC, location. All right. So I can still access no matter who is the owner. So that's it. So the location was not a matter. So I was able to access the share folder. It was available under SVR3 or SVR4 either way. So if one of them is dead or out, then I have no issue. So if you are going to stop a service on one of those nodes, no problem. So that is the main message. So if you got it. So you're going to stop this cluster service on SVR3. So now FS, Adatum FS should be moved to a different node. And you see that now again owner is changed from SVR3 to SVR4. So this was actually a message for us to understand and for you to understand and for everyone to understand. So I'm sure that we are all getting the purpose of this lab. So this is a high availability of this document or this shared document. So no matter where you go, your file is there, your folder is there, and you are able to access that file and you are able to access that folder. You are going to start cluster service back. Okay, screen now. They are both up. Look at the disks now. We have all three disks. It's online. You are going to take one of these disks offline, so which is a disk 1. Going back to DC. So even the witness disk is offline, the cluster should be running. Alright, so you still have access to the docs folder, which is under Adatum FS. So which proves that even the quorum disk is not running, so you are still able to access our Adatum FS folder, and the contents under the folder we have access. So you're gonna bring it back online, the quorum disk. We're gonna take a pause for 1 second here again. Alright, so I just took a small pause and I'm back now. So gonna continue right from here. Okay, so you're gonna go into my cluster 1, and from more action I'm gonna configure my cluster quorum settings. Let's watch and see right from this point. You can either use action menu or you can use context menu. So this is the context menu. You can now here choose configure cluster quorum, and you always can pause and read the options before you continue, so to get more understanding. You can use advanced quorum configuration section. So you're gonna just review it and click on next. So we have SVR3 and SVR4 available there. Here you're gonna configure a disk witness at this screen. And you're gonna use this cluster disk 3 option. And now can click on next. Just review this one. Okay, so you're gonna have now you have a disk witness, which also is a voter. I will explain to you how it votes, but that's how it configures. Okay, so this part is done. So you have to actually you did validation of high availability file server deployment, and you validated the failover and quorum configuration for file server role. So these were some simple steps, and just pause and look at the scenario. Going back to my domain controller and into server manager, you're going to add a role and feature widget. Start this role and feature widget and click on next. Make sure you have a DC1 available and click on next. And no role, next. and feature, fail our clustering, and then required features. So now we are adding a fail our cluster feature on our DC with additional required features. Now click on next, and we're going to install on DC1. So we have installed on other two servers SVR3 and SVR4. Now we are installing on DC1, and that is done. I paused at the back end. Completed. Going back to SVR3. Let's go into the tools first and check the Windows firewall with advanced security. And we're gonna actually have an inbound rule for remote shutdown, like an RPC-EP-in. So we're gonna verify that rule is enabled. And you're gonna look for that role. You can always go and alphabetically look at it. And now it is enabled. It is now enabled, so it wasn't enabled. And TCP in, which is not enabled. So just if it's not, you can right click and make it enabled. So it should look green. So now it is green. And now you can close your FW console. And now we can go back to SVR4. And you do the same under advanced firewall options. Okay, now it is enabled. It is enabled. Okay. So SVR4 is all set. Going to DC back. So now you're gonna click on cluster aware updating, which is CAU. You saw in the title or in the beginning screen of this exercise. So you know the cluster name was a cluster 1. Initially we have created that one. That should be available. It is there under scroll down window. And you can connect with it. So if this section hesitates a little bit, so you just have to be patient. Okay, click on review. Updates for this cluster. So it could take few minutes where you can see some updates. So as you can see that in the cluster 1 preview update window, You will see under General Update Review List. After several minutes, you see now you have an SVR3 and SVR4. You will see updates available now. It took a while. And you will see the update IDs. You can apply updates to this cluster and click on next. From the advanced option page, just review it and next. Again, just review it and click on next. And just update. So it will give you an option to close once you update. So clustering or cluster updating has started. When you close this widget, you can view the progress of the updating run on the main console. Now we can close it. It will be closed. All right. Just review it. Here you can see if you want to update or you want to download something or you want to view something which is being updated, just look at that just for review and read the bottom part for more clarification. Just what I said. This is the whole progress which you can see on the top, progress 1%, and this will take a little while, but I will not let you watch everything. So going back to SVR3, logging into SVR3, but we are already logged in. So we can log off, we can close, we can log in back, just to make things actually updated or refreshed. So you also can go to Explorer, or you also can go to Command Prompt or the PowerShell. All you got to do type log off and it will be logged off. So as it was a requirement of refreshment, so you're gonna log in back to LON-SVR3 as a domain administrator and start your CAU, cluster aware updating console from server manager under tools. And when SVR3 again is signing out, it was just a sign, maybe I hit something, but anyway, it wasn't really required. But you just simply go to tools and go into your CAU, cluster aware application. Here you can connect to your cluster 1. Okay, so you see now the update is running. If you want, you can actually cancel the update, but on the left side you can see this L1SVR, 3SVR4. They are actually waiting for updates, and update status is being processed. And this will actually shut down service, doing updates, working on updates, 30% complete. Just wait and see, continue. And it is restarting. And login back as an ADATM administrator with your unique password. And one more time, you're gonna go to tools and choose your cluster. Aware applications. Updating, cluster aware updating. Connect back to cluster 1. Again, we are at the same page because a few updates required actually a reboot. So it was an auto reboot. Repeating the same process again for updates. Add the CAU clustered role. Continue. Select Sunday for the day. Select timings 4 a.m. day, Sunday. Just a customization updating, so you can customize the way you want to. So from advanced page, just review and next. And apply. So now it says adding CAU clustered role with self-updating enabled. Succeeded. It is a success. Add clustered role success. You can click on close now. SVR4 is being restarted. So the other end you see that SVR4 is being restarted. So all steps are completed successfully, and you have seen the process, how this process worked. So I'm happy that everything was done completely, but I would say that if you still need some more info, just pause and go, watch one more time. Thank you, and I will see you in my next lab. That's my desktop. Bye.